what you should have to know is my original title is we've defined an approach, a modular approach, to create a digital workplace. And while we try to get that done, and we're succeeded, so you will see some customer examples and ways how we're going to do that, I'm often asked about, okay, what's the digital workplace? And I have a very big mass here in the market with what one understands under a digital workplace, so I give you my definition. In fact, it's not really my definition, it's the definition Jane McConnell used. And according to the Jane McConnell model of a digital workplace, which is about 6 years old now, I want to introduce the three main elements which are components to create a digital workplace. And this is nothing we get out of technology, like a product from IBM, from Microsoft, from Jive, or from anybody else, but it's a component that shows a specific capability. So one of the things is the information as such. We all know we're dealing with an overload of information. So it's not that we would not get the information we're seeking for. The question is, where do I find the valuable information? Where is the information help me doing my job? This is one of the key criteria. Normally, an intranet is going to do that. In many cases, it should. But does the intranet provide user-specific, custom to me and myself, the information I'm needing right now? So you've heard it before. There is maybe global corporate news, there is local news, and there may be even specific news to a dedicated location or to an office. And there is also different use and news for my role. If I work in sales, I want to have different information instead of working in support or a pre- or post-sales component. So the information mastered, dedicated to my job role, dedicated to my location, and automatically delivering towards my needs, my information needs, and my role. That's one idea we've pumped in here. So the other one is the collaboration as such. If we talk about collaboration, I do not want to use the phrase all the big companies like Microsoft and IBM do. The collaboration in that task is anything that's dedicated to achieve a work, a job, a target. So collaboration is the interaction between teams targeting for a goal. And the way they're going to do that is maybe by email, if it's fine. But they normally follow a process. And the interesting thing is a process is always involved in collaboration, whether that process is agreed on common sense or whether the process is written down in a policy. The approach here is collaboration is something we want to achieve to get our jobs done, to achieve our goals, our business targets. And this is one of the reasons why when we're going to set up with a customer, we always ask for these business goals first. And we want to know which collaborative component each role in the company is using. And with the collaboration comes the information into the count. If you have to do a job and you're wrong informed about a potential to take decision, it's pretty likely you do that wrong. The interesting thing is, and this is some studies showing that, about 15 years ago, the risk of taking a wrong decision with wrong information was up by about 43%. That's okay, so you've got a 50-50 chance to get something wrong on a wrong information. Today, it's even higher. We've topped over 60%, so with the wrong information, the potential risk to do a wrong decision getting way higher. 2 out of 3 decisions will fail. Maybe they do not have a significant impact because you've got control mechanisms in your process, but the more you control, the longer the process is, the more time you lose. So collaboration is an important part in all of that, thinking of a digital workplace. If we can't integrate that, why should a user want to use a digital workplace? This is what the job of the person is. This is the aim, the target. If this is not integrated, it's additional work. And even if I love that work, and even if it's pleasure, it's additional work. And nobody likes to get additional work just because on top of my job. And finally, a third component, and this is the important component, driven by many different things like social software, social intranet. You get tons of words for that. But social in that sense doesn't necessarily mean we're doing something like Facebook, Jive, Connections, Jammer. That might be real-time interactive connection and communication, one to each other. But social could also mean meet at the coffee corner. Power off the coffee machine in an IT department, and you have a decline of 20% in performance and efficiency. So it's pretty much the same thing. If you use social as something which is unpredicted, untargeted, but highly communicative because you need to get an answer and you do not have a clue where to get that answer, then this is where the social channel comes in. To gain information on the site. You might not know when you're going to need that. Now that's a real important part because this is where creativity, innovation, and direct interaction comes into account. So taking the three components, we're ending up with this model. These are the three components outlined, and you could see them here like what they're standing for. And for sure, you're not going to see a product here. Now the whole purpose, because you're not seeing a product here, is the idea we had with our digital workplace concept was forget about the highest chance that you've got a single vendor, one-size-fits-all strategy. It might happen. It might be pretty likely that you end up with a single vendor strategy, but what about the rest, the old IT you do have? How are you going to integrate that? Or there is a new product on the horizon, and you want to integrate that as well. Or the department in Hong Kong is keen on a different product, and they just do the guerrilla. They implement it. They buy it. They hook it in from the cloud, because the cloud was pretty easy. We do not have to ask IT for the server, the machine, and the software. We've got a powerful business sponsor willing to pay a certain amount of money and get out there and buy it directly with credit card in the cloud. What are you going to do with that service? The idea here is if we can match it to one of these three components, we've built a rocket solid layer of open standard, interactive components that we could hook in under the hood. And on that server, there is only a connector talking to the different applications. Now, I said they're only talking to different applications. If the applications are similar, the connector can combine the information from two different channels. So, like here the question, who has a task system? Raise your hands. What's that good for? Taking track of yourself? Or is it a process task system? Is it from a CRM? Is it from an SAP system? Is it something you've created yourself? Is it the task system the chief in charge is using to track his employees? The question is, the more systems you have, the more roles you have, the more likely it is you find yourself with 2, 3, or 4, or 5 task systems in the end, and you have to check all of them. Or hopefully, you kind of collect them through mail and answer them one by one. The technology here, the open standard capabilities we're using, give us the chance to combine all these different tracks into one channel. So the user itself just gets one task list. And in that task list, he's differentiating what he's really see. The task might be flagged as, this is your SAP task. Please approve. It's a travel request. Or, this is a task from your boss who wants you to quit that presentation by tomorrow morning. So whatever it is, we can collect them, we concentrate them, and it's personalized. It's for the user. And if there is something new coming in, you plug it in. There is an API in the back end that allows you to get that connecting. But long enough talked about architecture, show you what we've did. So this is one of the home screens. Because we use that open standard technology on the bottom, we decided to be completely open according to standards. So we used the material design standard. If you don't know what that is, Google it. And pretty much you will find a big group of designers who defined a real big, good, compiled guide of design, common standard design, which you can use, reuse, shape, size, mobile adoption, tablet adoption, adoption to big screens, how you deal with it, how the movement is done. And everything is open, so you can enhance that too. It's open, it's completely open. And due to the fact we're sticking with that material design, we are able to componentize the whole home screen. Customize, componentize. And the customizing is, we are role specific. So if the sales is going to have a specific kind of a screen, a specific task list, the salesperson is going to see that. And it doesn't need to be the same for the IT people. And it doesn't need to be the same for everybody else in the company. It could be specific. Everybody could get his own tweak of a home screen, just configured, not developed. We configured that component. You can change it. One person can change it, not everybody. So the idea is, please don't let everybody mess with the home screen, but get one who is responsible for it. One capability, we've built that for informative customers who had like corporate channels, local channels. Or the more interactive one, which has a higher collaboration impact with, we want to have email, we want to have a calendar system, and of course we want to have our tasks concentrated here. So the calendar here is the green one, the blue one is your email, and the red ones are the tasks. Once you click on that big bar down there, it opens up the whole screen, or if we want to, we jump out into the real application. So that's up to the customer itself. The real important part here is, within that task, you see your daily tasks, concentrated from different systems in one view. And the importance here is, this is not the system's access. So we're not mirroring in the system. Everything here is designed on material design. You can change it. Every font. It looks like email. It is the content of your email, but it's not wired to your email. This is what we're doing in the back. And this is the chance to have different mail systems, even being mixed on one screen and looking absolutely identical. So if you have the problem of having different mail systems from different vendors, even on that screen, they would look the same. It's your choice how they look in the front end. The users do not have to deal with different kinds of tweaks. In the end, yes. If you jump out to the final mail system, yes. But in the front end, no. Everything looks the same. Your choice. So down here, we've got the team channels. We've got the idea of the communities, which we find in many social software tools. So if you run 20, 30, 40, 50 communities, that's fine. Before I had this job, I've worked for a big company. And we had over 90,000 communities. I've decided to join in with 20 communities on my own. The company decided to join me, because of my role, to another 200 communities. That was kind of a mess. The 20 I was interested in was good, sorted, easy to get. Well, what about the rest of the 200? Is there valuable information? Yes, maybe. How do I find them? How do I sort them? How do I dig them down within the 90,000 others? This is a chance to say, let's clean it up. We could build filters for any kind of community systems, whether that community comes from a SharePoint system, whether that community comes from a GIS system, or whether that community comes from a connection system from IBM. We don't care. We build it on one view. We can filter it because we collect the data and we show it up in the way we want it to show up. And we could standardize that. So each of these places, what we call places, could be linked to a community and could be enriched. We could put together different data channels, different information channels in communities, whether it's the capability of the product or not, because we're totally free how we arrange the content on this interface. This is an example of an information hub. Think of, you can subscribe to your information channels. And I'm not telling where this information comes from. It could be from the internet. It could be from an internet channel. It could be from your internet homepage. Or it could be specific channels for specific roles. Or your newsletters, or whatever it is. We can have anything what we want. And finally, this is what we've learned. Many of our customers want it to is kind of a process application navigation system. The idea here is, if you're new to a company and you started as a new hire, it might be really helpful to get some hints and leads. Sometimes we've got mentoring, which is good. That's really good. If mentoring is done pretty good, so I'm pretty productive in 2-3 month time. But think of a branch which I had the pleasure to work with now for over a year, where they said for that role, if you're sitting in that chair, you have to be really good with about 30 applications to get your daily business done. From that 30 applications, 15 are handmade, highly complex. Some of them are handmade in the year 1995. So don't try to mess with the entry. It will crash, and it takes about 5 minutes to recover. So 30 applications like that. How do you think is the performance on getting real productive in here? That environment could be a real mess. And the training could be as well. So in this concept, we also have the chance to introduce a new employee step by step to his role. Put up only what that person should use and what the person could be trained to, without getting that person overwhelmed with 30 applications where he put up the finger and say, be careful, these are the 2 crashers. If you touch them, you have to know what to do. And finally, I've promised I've shown a customer example. So this is an example from the customer. They decided not to put in a heavy focus on collaboration. They said, we've got an internet problem. We have to rearrange our internet, and this is what we want to do. Give us an entry. So we've got corporate news on a very top level, and give us different channels. So, and with their different channels, they meant their newsletters. It's a company with about 5,000 employees worldwide. They have lots of factory workers, and they produce news channels. News channels with newspaper or paperwork, because they can pin it up in the plants they work with. So it's on the blackboard, you pin it up, so that people can read it. This is why pretty much everything is done on PDF here. So we have to have PDF documents and other documents in channels, but they also produce of course, online digital written content on the corporate level. Also, that one has to be channelized and put in. What we did with them is they said, okay, so we've got about 5 or 6 channels here. No, I can't show that. But so underneath, under that hook, is a blue bar. If you scroll to the end. On that blue bar, you can choose the information channels the company allows you to choose off. There are some which you can't tweak out. And one of that is corporate news. Often tried, but never succeeded. So corporate news is a must-have. You're going to have that. But they have 6 different channels. They can think of adopting that or do not. So it's kind of an information filter they wanted for their employees. And this is pretty much the correspondence to the process and application hub for a person to start quickly. They didn't say, we want to have that for onboarding. They said, we need something for easy questions, easy answers. Where do I find the contract for ABC? If I want to have a leave for maturity, where do I find that? I want to have a sabbatical. Where do I find that? Ask the question, get the answer. This is their kind of quick answer and quick questions bulletin board. And finally, what they're really into is their power plants, their ponds where they produce all that stuff. And they said everybody should be able to get a look of what we're doing there, what's current action, and where to find it. So this is the plant concept, the plant template built up for them. And as you can see, it's a mix and match. It's a componentized environment where we pick up whatever is helpful to create such a plant environment. Easy and redoable. And it's been tweaked by a person, one single person in corporate who is creating that. But you could pretty much do the same for a team project place or project template. So we have one template, and it's up to you how you control that. So, summary, learnings from my side and learnings which I always give back to the customer is, we do have a problem with information in many companies. We do not have the problem in finding them. We've got real good search algorithms, but we have the problem in filtering them. So I can only consume a certain amount of information, and I'm not looking at the 3rd and 7th page of a search engine, even if the valuable information is there. Please bring it down to what I really need. This is one of the ideas. Decisions getting complex, and if time's money, we have to get here a decrease in the effort of getting these processes done quickly. I do not want to launch 20 applications to get my job done. I want to have it in one environment. And this is pretty much the idea, getting close to me. And finally, digital workplace, I've mentioned it many times now, it's personal. It's not one size fits all or yes for everybody the same. It's personal. And it's the chance to make it personal. Make it meaningful for the people who have to work with it. They love it. If it's meaningful to my job, and if I can get done it better, quicker, faster, this is what I want to choose. This would be my starting point. It helps me getting my job done. It doesn't stop me, or it doesn't put extra effort into me. And one last thing, before I get killed here by the 1 minute sign, future digital workplace. The future digital workplace, as we see it, has to be a light, coupled, componentized, modular instrument. You do not know what's coming along in 3 years' time. You do not know what one part or unit in the company is going to decide upon, whether to go into the cloud, whether to stay on another server. A light coupling gives you the chance to integrate and fade out as you want, as you need. Componentizing is key, and this is why we said we have to componentize to build up what we need. And the last 2 I'll leave to you for reading. Thank you.
Thank you.